Welcome to Building the Future. I'm your host, Kevin Horick. You can check out new episodes of the show every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. If you missed an episode or want to get more information about the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com. Welcome back to the show. Today we have Brian and Michael from HowDoWe. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you guys on the show. I think what you guys are doing is really interesting, but maybe before we kind of get into that, let's get to know each one of you a bit better and kind of maybe give a quick intro and bio and kind of where you grew up, where you went to school. So Brian, maybe we'll start with you.
Sure, absolutely. So a little background on me. Previously, I was a former United States Army member. I was in the Cavalry Scout, and I was stationed down in Texas, where I did a one-year deployment to Iraq while serving. From there, I decided to get out and kind of pursue an educational degree. So I attended Illinois State University, where I got a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship. Just this past year, I actually just got out of there in December.
Nice.
And growing up, actually, kind of a funny story. Mike and I have actually been lifelong friends. We actually met in the 5th grade, I believe, and kind of just always gotten along. And we grew up in Spring Grove, Illinois. Growing up there, and we always spent our time together. We're great friends. And it wasn't until after I was out of the military and kind of in school that Mike approached me with kind of this idea of this crowdfunding platform for public education at the time, and kind of Mike and I from there took it from there and have been scaling it ever since.
No, that's great. I'm always curious to know stories of how kind of co-founders and stuff met. So Mike, do you maybe want to give kind of a quick bio and intro of yourself?
Absolutely. As Brian mentioned, from Spring Grove, Illinois, small town that, to give some background on, so Brian and I, like we said, we're friends in high school, but Brian was, in terms of being one of the most committed people I'd ever seen, join the cross-country team so that he could be better at being able to run when he joined the Army, and joined basketball so that he could run more and be in shape for the Army kind of thing. He was just someone who really would get committed to something and stick with it really well. So, and then I'll kind of come in later. I went to high school at Richmond Burton Community High School, went to a small private college in called Augustana College in Rock Island, Illinois, and then came into Chicago to pursue profession in finance. Worked at an investment bank for a few years, and then also an investor relations consulting firm. And while I was working at the investment bank, I kind of realized that, as I was learning about investments and infrastructure and understanding how public companies approach these issues, I really thought, man, if only there was a way to be able to tie a lot of these interests into being able to support education infrastructure, being able to, help them connect and have transparency in schools and be able to, make those investments. So as I thought about that, I thought of who to approach, and Brian being just out of the Army and, pursuing a degree in entrepreneurship, I knew that if I could get him on board, that, this is something that we could really see through. And, a year and a half later, here we are, launched with our first 2 projects, and, really starting to try to make an impact.
Sure. So what exactly is HowDoWe, and you kind of give a quick overview of kind of what it is, but like what exactly is it for people that have never heard of you guys?
Yeah, so we've created a platform that gives schools transparency into being able to say what they need. So they visit our website, howdowe.org. They create a profile, just giving some basic information about themselves. That profile is posted to the website. Then from there, they can post improvement projects that either improve the learning environment for students, advance the curriculum, or help support energy technologies and the application therein in the school. So once they post that, it's now free to the world to see, and donors can go onto the website, be able to donate directly to it, know where their money is going, and know that it's being coordinated with the school administration in mind, that these are principals, vice principals, superintendents are the ones that are setting up the account with us. They're the ones we've been communicating with exclusively, because we know that those are the people that are, they're building the budgets, they understand the infrastructure and understand where the efficiencies can be created.
Sure. No, I think that's great. So have you guys been reaching out to different schools to get them on the platform, or how are you guys going about actually, kind of bringing this to the forefront and getting that in front of people at these schools?
Right. Well, I can answer that.
Sure.
So kind of our approach with these schools in these very, very early stages, we kind of seek out schools that we know would be also a great help to work with.
Okay.
A lot of, we've met with a lot of schools in the Chicagoland area, and the two first schools we're working with, the principals are very responsive. They're positive about the idea, and that's kind of the support we look for in these early stages, because as the schools know as much as we do that, we are a new company. We're a startup in Chicago.
Sure.
And targeting those schools that are willing to work with us, and it also gives us the ability to get feedback on what they enjoy, what can make the process even more simplistic for schools to sign up. So we kind of, the two schools we're working with currently in Chicago are great. It only took them a short matter of 2 to 3 weeks to get all of the pertinent information in regards to quote some contractors and getting bank account information set up. And it was kind of a very simplistic process. And really the key to that was the communication with the schools. And kind of how that initially is based is we've been going to a lot of local school council meetings, PTA meetings, kind of getting involved with the communities, being involved with the parents of the students, and kind of building introductions from there.
We kind of had to find two schools that would be able to kind of walk through the process with us. I mean, there's a lot of internal, especially with larger districts, there's a lot of internal systems that have to be complied with, specifically around, the school's account management, where the money will be delivered. We're unique in that the money is delivered directly to the school, as opposed to any outside entity. So that took some time in the, in the communication. We'd read up online about a lot of these systems, how they worked, but it wasn't until we actually talked to them and really sat down with them that they went through the full process with us. And some schools knew what that process was from previous fundraising campaigns. Others, it was kind of a new concept to them.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm curious then how you get them on the platform. Obviously, they kind of promote this to the parents and kind of the public, saying we need, a certain thing for this school, or kind of walk me through how they go about actually, they put up a project, then kind of what happens.
So then the immediate, we break it down into three groups, kind of the immediate community, which, like you said, the teachers, the parents, the PTA groups. We give them every resource that we can to say, hey, here's the easiest way to get the information about with this. We handle all the back-end documentation. You don't have to go out and collect checks or anything, just direct people to the site. And then on top of that, we're being active and looking to rally community support from local businesses and individuals, offering unique offerings to them to be able to say, hey, you can take active part in this, be featured on the website, be able to, market yourself as a supporter of this while driving the support of others in your community. And then the third aspect is kind of the more what we call general non-specific. So we're looking to attract, through our connections and our active outreach on the general national level of groups and people that are supporting public education, to be able to attract donations from there as well. And as we continue to add functionality to the website, that's where we want to add being able to have influencers shown and recognized on the website as, say if there's a specific PTA group that goes out and raises a certain amount of money, however much money, and it's associated with they were the champions of that project and went out and rallied the community, that group would be recognized. Hey, everybody, PTA group has raised $5,000 already for this, for this project specifically. So we really look to attract the influencers and make sure everyone's recognized in the effort to really make it a kind of a community showing.
And another thing I wanted to add to that, Kevin, is we get asked the question a lot, and it's a very great question of, a lot of the communities we work in may be underfunded. How exactly do we get funds from that immediate community, or where do we as the organization go out to seek these kinds of donations? And that's kind of why we have that 3-tier marketing in place. We realize, we're here in Chicago. It's a very big city. So if we're working in an area that the school's kind of in this underfunded district, it's kind of our obligation. We want to be that mediator to go out and do all of the outreach throughout the city, making the whole city of Chicago kind of feel as one very tight-knit community.
Yeah, I think that's great. So for people that don't maybe really know what to do and how to promote this stuff, what types of stuff are you doing to actually spread the message and kind of the projects kind of throughout the Chicago area?
Our platform makes it really easy to, when you visit any of the project pages, it can be quickly and easily shared on any social media channel.
Okay.
And it all right there at the tips of your fingers. We also have our own Twitter, LinkedIn, social media followings as well that to help promote it. But we try to make it specifically easy to make it all a digital platform, to be able to share it socially, visit the website, get all the documentation that you need in order to, if you wish to claim it try to claim it as a tax deduction, you can do that. Kind of handling it all on one easy to use online platform. To answer your question directly, social media is the easiest way to visit, find a project that you like, support it, tell others that you supported it, and then just generally spread the word from there.
No, that's kind of what I figured, but I thought I would mention it. So I'm curious then to step back a little bit. How did you guys originally kind of decide to, let's actually build this thing? And what was the kind of reasoning that you were just like, you know what, we need to do this. We need to actually get this thing kind of live and in the community.
Yeah, so it started with in September 2015, was pulling into a parking lot of a school on the south side that my friend was a special education teacher there. And immediately noticed kind of the building was pretty run down, but more so I noticed there was a burned down building in front of the school, boarded up in the middle of the campus, and it was a school building. I asked my friend what it was. She said it was their cafeteria. It burned down 2 years ago, and so at this point, it's been there for 3 years, completely unrenovated, just sitting there. I thought, man, these kids have to come to school every day, and just kind of be reminded of the neglect that exists. And politics aside, if there was a way for others to just transparently see these are the types of things that schools need on the infrastructure level, that this is, a building that could be repurposed to have other qualities or be turned right back into a cafeteria to help, alleviate maybe some of the food services at that school. And we knew that this wasn't a isolated thing, that there were schools all over that had issues like this. And, you read about them all the time. So as we were thinking about if we could just create a platform for everyone to be able to see it, make it easy for, and more so for, coming from a finance background, I knew that public companies and their corporate governance requirements now, there's a big pressure for companies to be active in supporting social and environmental causes.
Sure.
State Street Global, and the recent push by placing the girl in front of the Wall Street Bull to get more women on boards. These types of things that, if they were willing to rally around these issues, we want to be there to give them the tool to be able to use to do that. If you got a company like Apple or Google, wanting to support these type of things and understand exactly what they're investing in, they can own it and measure it themselves. We want to help them do that.
Sure. No, I love that. I think that's great. So did you guys raise some seed money? Did you guys do a friends and family? Did you self-fund? How did you guys kind of get the first version of this kind of funded and up?
We were very lucky in finding a core group of people to be able to help us in building it. And then from there, it has been Brian and myself bootstrapping along with some support from our families.
Okay. No, that's great. So are you guys... go ahead, sorry.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I also want to mention, right now is actually, so along with the live projects being hosted on our site, we actually do have our Indiegogo campaign up and running as well. So we're kind of seeking out funds from there to basically make us more sustainable and ensure that we can carry out all necessary actions to ensure funding for these first school projects we're hosting.
Sure.
Yeah. So half of the funds raised there go to public schools to be able to, it's to help the projects that we have now, but it's also, we can approach schools saying, hey, here's some funding to get your project started. Let's really talk about this kind of thing so they understand that, we're serious. But then on the other half, as I was kind of mentioning before, we have some really cool new functionalities that we want to add to our website that will make it so much easier for businesses and individuals to be able to find and share it, and be recognized. So that's kind of in our, this is a big push to really advance ourselves.
Sure. And then how do you guys monetize the platform?
We take a very simple small fee of 8% per donation, similar to any other crowdfunding platform. So a donor places a donation, 8% is what we maintain, and then the rest is delivered to the public school directly.
Got you. Okay. And then, so you have a couple projects on the go on the platform right now. Let's talk about those and kind of what have people started to, add, in the early stage of the platform.
We've had great feedback so far. The first group of projects were, kind of some of the best we could have asked for in terms of, and that's kind of the feedback we've been receiving too. And that for one of the schools, it's upgrading their technology, upgrading their computers to be able to allow them to add new programs around technology. But also these computers are used for their required testing. So all of the students have to be able to use these computers, and there are quite a few of them that are not completely, but are just very out of date and difficult to use. So this is, a prime example of if we're able to fund this project, that this helps the class that's there now. And then for the next few years, potentially, 100 students that come through or more. And then the other project is focused around a music program more so, that they're able to utilize it. They have some very active professional teachers that are working with it, that they need to be able to use it, but then not disturb other classrooms. So they're using they're fundraising for some soundproofing and other ways to help with that. And Brian has been there as well.
Yeah, so the project's just adding on what Mike stated. It's what they want to do is the music classroom is right above the special education classroom. Okay. And what they want to do is they want to add a suppressive cork flooring, because we've had both testimonials, and it's actually posted on the project on the website right now, both from the music teacher and the special education teacher. It's very distracting for some of the students down low to focus, and also it also benefits the musical students because of the acoustics in the room is much more intact with this suppressive cork flooring. So it's benefiting both parties on that. And I also wanted to add on the computer lab upgrade. I meet with the principal pretty regularly of the school, and she had mentioned to me that it's very key that these students get this one lab is where the students do all the testing, and she had mentioned, and this has always stuck out to me, is she had mentioned that a lot of the students, when it comes time to test, which is a timed test at the end of the year, when they take it, they're not even necessarily familiar with the technology when they take the test. So therefore, it's kind of cutting into their ability to focus on the test rather because they're dealing with these technological problems that may occur on the computer. So I've always thought that really resonated with me,
Sure.
just because it really does prove that these projects that these administrators are coming up with, they are the ones that are firsthand seeing the effects that it takes on the students, and those are the exact types of problems that we want to fix in these public schools.
Sure. No, I think that's great, and I love what you guys are doing with the whole platform, and I think it's a much needed thing, in pretty much any city, probably even globally, you could argue. And so, what are your expansion plans? Are you guys planning on just staying in Chicago for a while? Are you guys going to try to branch out into other states and cities, or are you just going to kind of see and tweak the platform for a while and then kind of decide when you guys are ready to move to other cities?
We definitely want to focus on Chicago. for pretty obvious reasons in terms of the budget crises and some of the issues we're seeing. It's really we're treating this as kind of our concept proof, and then also kind of ground zero for being able to make an impact directly. Everyone reads about the issues and understands them so clearly that and with there's over 650, I think, in the one district alone, that if we can align ourselves and unify with the administration of that group, we can start working on a very, very specific, targeting projects that are going to have the most effect for the entire district. They're going to draw efficiencies that make it easier for these budget requirements. So in long story short, to answer your question, we're focusing on Chicago for now.
Sure.
Expansion to other cities are definitely something we're open to. And as we, now that we've launched, we're absolutely open to speaking with other cities. We've heard about Atlanta, Washington, D.C. as a couple of areas that would likely be willing to align with us. So we're, all years, but focusing on Chicago for now.
Sure. That makes sense. Go ahead.
I also wanted to add on that we are, even though we are focusing on Chicago specifically right now, even in these stages, we are in early talks with other school districts, even within Illinois.
Right.
This is not there's really no district requirements in this situation. It's really, we want to help all school districts, but focusing on Chicago now, where we can kind of lay down the groundwork and really run with it, where then we can approach these other cities or other school districts having the exact plans in place that would be most effective.
Sure. So you mentioned you guys have been kind of reaching out to people at the schools, like presidents, vice principals, and stuff like that. Are you guys talking to anybody in kind of the government or local city officials and stuff like that, or is that kind of not really how this stuff kind of happens?
Brian, I think you can talk to.
Yeah, I can. So just from the experiences we've had so far, and we've even talked to officials in the districts we're working in of, kind of the big question that Mike and I had to figure out in these early stages is how do we exactly, the public education is a very tight niche community, and they don't necessarily, proving yourself as an outsider is often difficult. And how did we go about that? We started at the small scale. We were actually recommended by another education-based company that working at the school level in this stage, it will be most effective. And so that's exactly what we did. We started going to Board of Education meetings, simply meeting the administrators, and then from there, kind of just cold introductions like that, and then setting up meeting times. So it's really been the schools, at the school level, it's been most efficient so far. In regards to types of city officials or governmental officials helping us, it's there. But I think, and Mike and I kind of both realize this, having these first projects successfully funded, I think will open a lot more doors for it.
Sure.
And kind of grasp that attention of, certain governmental officials and influencers in the area.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And sometimes, like, those people are busy too, right? Sometimes it's not that they don't want to help. It's just, it can take some time to book a meeting and kind of get them involved. And sometimes they need permission to do certain things. And I think it makes a lot of sense what you guys are doing with that. And I also like the fact that, you guys didn't know these people before you started kind of this platform, and you basically are hustling and going to these things to meet the people that you need to meet to make sure the platform's successful.
Right. No, and that's exactly it. Is we fully understand that people have very busy schedules, especially in the field that we're working in, and all we want to do is help improve the whole system overall. If we start successfully funding schools, that therefore frees more constraint on an official's end to focus on other issues that may be occurring.
Sure.
So we really do. Mike and I's overarching goal is to really improve how public education is funded. It's kind of this new way of funding schools, and Mike and I, our whole team is really excited to get started and kind of get the public behind us.
Yeah, and we know that if we come to them with just an idea, if we were to go to them with just an idea, it would probably fall on deaf ears for good reason,
Sure.
Understandably. That they want results, and they want to see something that works. So that's where we focus on the small scale.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So do you guys run into a bit of an issue with kind of the summer vacation, or is it kind of irrelevant because it's a pretty short period of time?
So actually, I could touch on that. It actually seems from last year, and I'm just basing this off 1 year of this.
Sure.
Summer vacation, these summer months are actually the busiest. Reason being, school administrators don't have students
Right.
during the summers. So it kind of frees up their time to kind of lay out plans and kind of work with us on a more individual level. And it seems as if it picks up more during the summer months.
Okay, interesting. So I'm curious then, is there any features that you guys are looking to roll out kind of in the near future that you want to talk about that aren't there now, or stuff that you've gotten feedback from your users saying, it'd be really good if you had like these couple of things?
Definitely the recognition of and greater ease of sharing contribution and influence, but also we really want to tie into the local business aspect to give, from whether it's your office doing, price matching, and you want to be able to show that this was your office that did this, or if you want to be able to, hey, if you did more than $30, you'll have a 15% discount to, our shop with a confirmation of your receipt kind of thing, or, of your donation, to make the things that are going to draw people in from that community and other communities that are going to help businesses, and be able to, give. It's awesome to be able to help public education, but it's to be able to incentivize it, a little bit further than that. I think would really help us draw attention to the community and the school as a whole.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. So how has that gone? Like, have you guys started really reaching out to kind of businesses and whatnot to see their interest in this stuff?
From our conversations, we've been focusing on going to events like, commerce events of talking to these businesses, directly the owners and, managers of these. And it sounds like it's something that they're really kind of hungry for. And that's where we're, focusing on these types of systems that would work for them. I think Brian had an interaction pretty recently.
Yeah, I actually, just earlier this morning, I was actually at a veteran-focused benefit, kind of talking about bringing in almost as if it was a Chamber of Commerce event. A lot of local businesses showed up. There was some press there. I was not presenting. I was actually supporting a fellow coworker with his business venture.
Sure.
But events like that is where we're really doing business outreach to try to get, especially in Chicagoland area, doing a lot of going to a lot of networking events. There's nearly a networking event every night that we will go to, along with that of just building the relationships with the local businesses in the area.
And then in the more broad sense, we've also contracted and been working with a marketing agency that's going to help us launch a broad-based marketing campaign, with the more traditional ways of getting our name out there, whether print, digital, and then as well as media placement. And that's all starting likely early next week. Now that we've launched, as of yesterday, so it's new big things to come. Hopefully in these next couple of weeks on that front.
Sure. I love that. And I love how you guys are keep like going to these things and I think a lot of people don't realize that actually doing a startup isn't really like this 9 to 5 thing, Monday to Friday, right? Like you guys go to all these events, you're meeting with people, you're doing all this stuff, right? And it's a lot of work and it's time consuming, but it's also the most rewarding.
Yeah. It's a lot of feedback that we, it's so much of it is really, it's great ammunition. It's great, like that's a great idea. Let's figure out a way to build that in. And it's, it really fosters that type of relationship, that individual relationship that leads to another idea of, how we're making this better for everyone kind of thing. So it's been, definitely been rewarding in that sense. And then Brian, you were saying?
Oh, I was almost comically saying it's just endless. It's endless in a good way, though. It's both Mike and I like being very proactive, and we're very passionate about this startup. So it's even though it is endless, it's just you can constantly be working on something, ensuring that functionalities are correct. But the reward behind it is not only personally of achieving a goal, but it's also, Mike and I always discuss the idea of we're starting a business that is positively impacting our culture and society and our immediate surroundings, as well as the idea of Mike and I enjoying what we're doing each day. And I think that's important with startups, is that you really have to enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, I don't think it's the right field for an individual.
No, I couldn't agree with you anymore. And so I'm kind of, though, just kind of, I think, to back up a little bit, I think just about you mentioned just like talking to businesses and getting them involved and passionate about this. I think to one of your points, basically these companies want to give back. It's just they don't know how to sometimes, or they don't have a platform to do it, or kind of a combination of a handful of things. And so, the fact that you guys have a platform and you're making these relationships with companies, it makes it a lot easier for them to give back, because they don't have to, spend a ton of time trying to find things to give back to. Have you found that at least?
Oh, yes. One of the big pieces of feedback that we get is people kind of are, thinking about us, and as we explain ourselves, they're as business owners, as employees, they want to be able to give back, especially to their immediate community.
Sure.
There's a ton of amazing nonprofits and groups out there that are supporting education, that are supporting, a whole, really range of great causes. But when you give so many times, it's, you don't know exactly where it's going.
Sure.
And that's where they see, okay, I could be able to know where it's going. I could know, how much we gave, the exact impact we made, be able to see from beginning initiation all the way to execution of the project, having that. And then also, companies want their name to be known that, hey, we're a company that supports this. We are ingrained in this community, and we want people to know it. And having that side of the platform is something that's been, a big interest for them as well.
Sure. And I also think it helps them in recruiting new employees as well, right? Because I know there's certain industries that have a real hard time, say, recruiting millennials, right? Just because of the type of industries that they're in. And a lot of people expect companies that they work for to give back to the community. And so I love kind of that tie-in with what you guys are doing with everything. So we're kind of coming to the end of the show. Maybe let's close with mentioning where people can get more information about you guys, check out your projects, and, start donating.
Absolutely. We have 2 projects posted on the website right now. It's www.howdowe.org. You can visit, see the schools and the projects right along the top, along the tabs, learn more about us. We also have a blog, blog.howdowe.org. You can subscribe and, kind of read about some of the projects we already have, and that'll be kind of our main source of where we're talking about a lot of the projects as we go through them, posting pictures, videos, things like that to keep people updated. We have a lot of great information in our pitch video. If you want to learn more about us, as people and get to see our faces, you can visit our Indiegogo page as well. And then as always, we have the Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. Please visit us on those platforms as well. We love hearing the feedback. We love hearing the ideas. We're in a really exciting time of being, flexible and understanding what people really want to see. So, we're always open to ideas and feedback.
Perfect, guys. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you, and have a good rest of your day.
You too,
Thanks
Kevin.
very much.
We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. The music for the show is done by Electric Mantra. You can check them out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.